Imagine if there was someone living in one of the cupboards that you don't look into often, and you've been living with that person there for a year without knowing it. And that person walks around your house super close to you when you're asleep. So imagine you live in your own apartment, right? And every now and then you just check to go in the fridge and you want to eat something, and we've all done that. You just go to your fridge, you just go to the kitchen, you look for something that you thought you left there, and then it's gone, right? And then you either it's gone or part of it is gone. Like for me, very often we had these schnitzels that were in the fridge, and I would go eat them, and then like when I got there, like half of them were gone. And to me, that's normal because I've always lived with roommates or family. So usually in my case, it'd be my brothers, right? So I wouldn't think about it twice. It would have been my brothers, and I'd be like, all right, my brothers just ate my food or the food that I wanted to eat, so it's fine, no big deal. But what if you lived alone and that happened? What would be your first thought? Would you think, oh, maybe I've eaten it and I just forgot about it, or maybe I just thought that I had left something for later, but I actually didn't? And yeah, maybe that would help you explain what happened. But in this case, that didn't happen. So today we're going to talk about the story of Joe. And this is a very famous video. We're going to play it so you can see it. But the crazy part about the story is that exact thing happened to Joe. And Joe Cummings, he lived in New York and he lived alone. He worked there and he didn't spend much time at home. But when he was at home, he loved to eat. And yeah, he gets home a couple times and he thought he had leftovers, but when he gets home he sees that, for example, the milk is half empty even though he left it 3/4 full, or part of his food would be missing of his plate that he had done, or pieces of the loaf of bread that he had left would be gone, or just in general, just food or drink items that were just not as full as he left them, or not with the same amount that he left them. So yeah, this happens a couple times, and he's losing his mind. So he thinks, what's going on? Like, I'm not that much at home. There's no way I eat that much without noticing it. So he then talks to his girlfriend because she's the only other person that has access to his fridge and to his kitchen, and he asks her, like, are you eating my food? And he says this in a half joking way, like, are you eating my food, or why are you eating my food? And she just laughs it off and says, no, I have my own food, I don't have to eat your food. So he then kind of again laughs it off and forgets about it, but it continues happening. And this is when Joe then thinks, all right, this is not normal. This is happening to me, and I'm not losing my mind. I've been thinking about it. I've been purposefully remembering how much I leave in my fridge so that I know exactly how much was there, and somehow it's missing. So what he decides to do is to put a camera up, a security camera that he then points at the kitchen, and yeah, like that he wants to avoid, or not to avoid, but he wants to find out who's eating his food. So he does that, and then he just goes to sleep and forgets about it. And when he wakes up the next morning and wants to check the cam, he sees the craziest thing. So, God, I get the chills when I tell this, but basically what he sees is, in the dark at night, a woman steps out of his cupboard, and there's a video, we're going to put this up on the screen so you can see it. She steps out of the cupboard with one foot, and then she pulls a stool out so she can step down from the cupboard, from the table that she's standing on, down to the floor. Then she goes to the fridge, starts drinking his milk, or I don't know what she's drinking, but she starts just basically eating and drinking from his fridge. She goes to his sink and pees there, and I think she even watches TV. I don't know. I'm not sure if on the video it's her, but I think she even or something. She just does something to like sit down on the couch as if it was her apartment, which is crazy. So she steps down from the cupboard, goes in the kitchen, uses the sink as her personal bathroom, and then just starts eating his food and just living in his apartment as if it were hers at night when she thinks that he's sleeping. And Joe sees all of this, and the craziest part, or the most scary part, is that he actually goes out that night because he goes to get a midnight snack or to drink something, and you see him walk out, and the moment she hears the sound, she just rushes and hides into a corner. When you think about it, she could have been scared and actually taken a knife and tried to kill him, but she doesn't. She just hides away. He, without knowing this, and for sure he had the chills as well, he just walks around his kitchen, and it's just insane because he's walking around there and she's just sitting in a corner with her hair all messed up, and the way she looks, the way you look if you live in someone's cupboard for years. So yeah, Oh god, I just get the chills when I think about it. But yeah, it's insane. So basically, he was living with someone in his house without knowing it that was eating his food, and basically just he was just extremely vulnerable because she was awake and walking around his house when he was asleep. So anytime if she wanted to or lost her mind, because who knows what happens to you mentally if you live in a cupboard for 1 year. I mean, you already must be mentally a bit disturbed to do that, or for that to be your only option. Who knows what could have happened? But yeah, he finds out, sees this in the morning, and of course he's completely flabbergasted by this. So he then calls the police, and sure enough, the police come into his house. They open the cupboard and they find this woman, like super thin, and she looks like she hasn't eaten in years, and her hair is completely messed up, and she's just a mess, how you would expect if you live in a cupboard for 1 year. And then this Joe guy decides to put it up on the internet, the video, and it's absolutely crazy. Think about it. Imagine it. Imagine if any part of your room. Imagine if there was someone living in one of the cupboards that you don't look in too often, and you've been living with that person there for a year without knowing it, and that person walks around your house super close to you when you're asleep. So yeah, that's the story for today. We're gonna keep posting these stories because they're really interesting and really intriguing. To be honest, they scare me because I film these videos alone in my cellar. But yeah, I'm gonna keep telling you these stories. I'm gonna get goosebumps every time I tell them because to me they really hit me. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and make sure to check out all our videos and to subscribe.